Wolf Brother chapter 18 begins with a really good opening sentence. The fog stole upon them like a thief in the night. When Torak crawled stiffly from his sleeping sack, the valley below had disappeared. The breath of the world spirit had swallowed it whole. He yawned. Wolf had woken him often in the night, racing about and uttering urgent half-barks. Kill smell! Watch! It didn't make any sense. Every time Torak went to look, there was nothing but a stink of carrion and an uneasy feeling of being watched. Maybe he just hates the fog, said Wren grumpily as she rolled up her sleeping sack. I know I do. In fog, nothing's what it seems. I don't think it's that, said Torak, watching Wolf snuffing the air. Well, what is it then? I don't know. It's as if something's out there. Not the bear, not the ravens. Something else. What do you mean? I told you I don't know, but we should be on our guard. Thoughtfully, he put more wood on the fire to heat up the rest of the stew for day meal. With an anxious frown, Wren counted their arrows. 20 between us. Not nearly enough. Do you know how to knap flint? Torak shook his head. My hands aren't strong enough. Val was going to teach me next summer. What about you? The same. We'll have to be careful. There's no telling how far it is to the mountain, and we'll need more meat. Maybe we'll catch something today. In this fog? She was right. The fog was so thick that you couldn't see Wolf 5 paces ahead. It was the kind that the clans call the smoke frost, an icy breath that descends from the high mountains at the start of winter, blackening berries and sending small creatures scuttling for their burrows. Wolf led them along an auroch trail that wound north up the side of the valley. A chilly climb through frost-brittle bracken. The fog muffled sounds and made distances hard to judge. Trees loomed with alarming suddenness. Once they shot a reindeer, only to find that they'd hit a log. That meant a frustrating struggle to dig out the arrowheads, which they couldn't afford to lose. Twice, Torak thought he saw a figure in the undergrowth, but when he ran to look, he found nothing. It took all morning to climb the ridge, and all afternoon to scramble down into the next valley, where a silent pine forest guarded a slumbering river. Do you realise, said Wren, as they huddled in a hasty shelter after a cheerless night meal, that we haven't seen a single reindeer? They should be everywhere by now. I've been thinking that too, said Torak. Like Wren, he knew that the snow on the fells should be driving the herds into the forest to grow fat on moss and mushrooms. Sometimes they ate so many mushrooms that they even tasted of them. What will the clans do if the reindeer don't come? Said Wren. Torak didn't answer. Reindeer meant survival. Meat, bedding and clothes. He wondered what he was going to do for winter clothes. Wren had had the foresight to put hers on before she'd left the Raven camp, but she hadn't been able to steal any for him, so all he had was his summer buckskin, not nearly as warm as the furry parka and leggings which he and Far made every autumn. Even if they did find prey, there'd be no time to make clothes. Beyond the fog, the red eye of the great auroch was climbing ever higher. Torak shut his eyes to push the thought away and eventually fell into an uneasy sleep. But whenever he awoke in the night, he caught the strange carrion stink. Next morning dawned colder and foggier than ever, and even Wolf seemed dejected as he led them upstream. They reached a fallen oak bridging the river and crawled over it on their hands and knees. soon afterwards the trail forked. To the left it wound into a valley of misty beech trees. To the right it disappeared up a dank gully, its deep sides an uninviting jumble of moss-covered boulders. To their dismay, Wolf took the right-hand trail. "That can't be right," cried Wren. "The mountain's in the north. Why is he forever going east?" Torak shook his head. "It feels wrong to me too, but he seems sure." Wren snorted. She was clearly having doubts again. Looking at Wolf waiting patiently, Torak felt a twinge of guilt. The cub wasn't even 4 moons old. At this age he should be playing by his den, not traipsing over hills. "I think," he said, "we ought to trust him." Murmured Wren. Hoisting their packs higher on their aching shoulders, they entered the gully. They hadn't gone 10 paces before they knew that it didn't want them. Towering spruce trees warned them back with arms spread wide. A boulder crashed in front of them. Another struck the path just behind Wren. The stink of carrion grew stronger. But if it came from a kill site, it was a strange one, for they heard no ravens. The fog closed in until they could barely see 2 paces ahead. All they could hear was the drip, drip of mist on the bracken, and the gurgle of a stream rushing between fern-choked banks. Torak began to see bear shapes in the fog. He watched Wolf for the least sign of alarm, but the cub plodded along, unafraid. At midday, or what felt like midday, they halted for a rest. Wolf slumped down panting, and Wren shrugged off her pack. Her face was pinched, her hair soaking. "I saw some reeds back there. I'm going to plait myself a hood." Hanging their quivers and bows on a branch, she moved off through the ferns. Wolf heaved himself up and padded after her. Torak squatted at the edge of the stream to refill the water skins. It wasn't long before he heard Wren coming back. "That was quick," he said. "Out!" bellowed a voice behind him. "Out of the Walker's Valley, or the Walker slits throats." Dun, dun, dun.